Also at 5, the funeral for motorcycle gang leader Harry Bowman will be taking place here in Dayton this weekend.
In 1935, a bar in Illinois. Factory workers form a motorcycle club. 90 years later, that club controls a billion-dollar criminal empire. 441 chapters, 43 countries, 5,000 members. They're older than the Hells Angels, more ruthless than the Pagans. April 27, 1974. 3 Hells Angels found in Florida, executed, beheaded. The Outlaws sent a message. The war still rages today. This is America's oldest outlaw motorcycle gang. Birth of an empire. Matilda's bar stood on Route 66 in McCook, Illinois. A working-class joint where electromotive company workers drank after shifts. In 1935, John Davis gathered friends at that bar. They formed the McCook Outlaws Motorcycle Club. Nobody knew they'd created the oldest outlaw biker club in the world. World War II put the club on hold. Members shipped overseas. Those who returned came back different, harder, more violent. May 1946. The Outlaws attended the first post-war motorcycle rally at Soldier Field in Chicago. Veterans who'd seen combat. Men who didn't fit civilian life anymore. By 1950, the club exploded. Members from across Chicago joined. The McCook Outlaws became the Chicago Outlaws. South Side headquarters. They redesigned their logo. A small skull replaced the winged motorcycle. 1954 brought crossed pistons below the skull. They called it Charlie. That symbol would become one of the most feared in America. 1963 changed everything. The Outlaws became the first certified one-percenter club east of the Mississippi. The term came from the American Motorcyclist Association, which claimed 99% of motorcyclists were law-abiding. The remaining 1%? Outlaws. The club wore that label with pride. They added a diamond patch to their vests. 1%er inscribed inside. July 1964. Multiple clubs merged under the Outlaws banner. The Gypsy Outlaws from Milwaukee, the Gypsy Outlaws from Louisville, the Cult from New York. They became the largest one-percenter club east of the Mississippi. January 1st, 1965. Official incorporation, the American Outlaws Association was born, a criminal enterprise disguised as a motorcycle club. They added a middle finger patch mocking the AMA logo. Ultimate Rebellion. 1967 brought Florida expansion. They absorbed the Iron Cross Club in West Palm Beach. The Outlaws now stretched from Midwest to South. 1969 gave them their identity. Someone coined the motto, God forgives, outlaws don't. 4 words that defined everything. The club enforced strict rules. White males over 21 only. American-made motorcycles. At least 750 cubic centimeters, no exceptions. Black and white colors, skull imagery, death's head symbols. Members who killed for the club earned twin lightning bolt tattoos. SS-style symbols celebrating murder. The Outlaws weren't motorcycle enthusiasts. They were a criminal organization. The Blood Rivalry. December 31st, 1973. New Year's Eve. The Hells Angels clubhouse in New York City. 3 outlaws from Florida showed up. Accounts vary, but violence erupted. Some claim sexual assault. Others describe escalating threats. The Hells Angels tracked those 3 outlaws back to Florida. They wanted revenge. April 27, 1974. Fort Lauderdale. 3 Massachusetts Hells Angels lured their targets to a construction site. Execution style. Shot in the back of the head. Beheaded. Bodies dumped in a gravel pit. The Outlaws didn't hide it. They advertised it. Florida belonged to them. The Hells Angels declared war. Not temporary, not local. Total war between the world's 2 largest motorcycle clubs. June 9th, 1974. Akron, Ohio. 3 Hells Angels opened fire with submachine guns and shotguns. They targeted Outlaws member Stephen Wargo. Wrong house. Civilian Donald Della Sera died instead. Collateral damage in a war consuming both clubs. January 7, 1975. Cleveland. A suitcase bomb exploded in a home. 3 dead, including a 2-year-old boy. 3 more critically injured, including a 9-month-old. The Hells Angels thought an Outlaws member lived there. Wrong intelligence. Dead children. Between 1974 and 1982, at least 20 homicides connected to this war. The real number was much higher. 1977 brought international expansion. Satan's Choice chapters in Canada patched over to the Outlaws. Cross-border drug routes opened. The first biker war erupted in Canada from 1977 to 1984. 20 to 30 murders by 1980. Another 42 between 1981 and 1984. March 21, 1978. Gilles Carteret, Outlaws Montreal president, started his car. The bomb underneath exploded instantly. He died on Bordeaux Street. April 25, 1978. Two Hells Angels entered the Outlaws clubhouse and opened fire. Multiple wounded. The next day, Outlaws member Athanase Markopoulos was murdered by two Hells Angels. The violence consumed entire regions. The Wild Ones Motorcycle Club in Hamilton got caught in the crossfire. They associated with Hells Angels. The Outlaws killed them systematically. Dennis Stewart, bomb in his car, dead. Danny Powell. Another bomb, lost his leg. 5 Wild Ones killed before the club disbanded. By the mid-1980s, over 100 people dead. The Hells Angels won Canada. The Outlaws retreated to Ontario. But the rivalry never ended. Both clubs expanded globally. The Outlaws established chapters in France, 1993, Australia, 1994, Norway, 1995. They spread across Europe, Belgium, England, Germany, Ireland, Russia, Spain. November 2006. The Outlaws opened the first major outlaw club chapter in the Far East. Okinawa City, Japan. 43 countries, 441 chapters, over 5,000 members. Second largest outlaw club worldwide. New acronyms emerged. Adios, Angels Die in Outlaw States. Ahammed, All Hells, Angels Must Die. The war raged on every continent. Criminal Empire. The Outlaws evolved into a sophisticated criminal organization. They built an empire on violence, drugs, and intimidation. The structure mirrored organized crime. International president controlled everything. Regional presidents reported to him. Chapter presidents reported to regional leaders. Clear chain of command. Members paid $1,200 annually. They attended mandatory weekly meetings. They participated in runs constantly. Communication, coordination. The Outlaws operated like a corporation, a violent, criminal corporation. Drug trafficking formed the foundation. The Outlaws produced, transported, and distributed methamphetamine nationwide. They moved cocaine from South America through Florida and Texas. They trafficked marijuana in massive quantities. The club controlled distribution networks spanning multiple states. Authorities estimated hundreds of millions annually. Some estimates reached over $1 billion. The Outlaws ran prostitution rings. They controlled strippers and escort agencies. Women were property literally. Old ladies wore vests reading "Property of the Outlaws." Weapons trafficking. They sold illegal firearms. They smuggled guns across borders. They provided weapons to other criminal organizations. Money laundering clean drug profits. The Outlaws owned legitimate businesses, motorcycle shops, t-shirt stores, bars, tattoo parlors. They funneled cash through these fronts. Extortion and intimidation brought additional income. Bar owners paid protection money. Strip club owners paid tribute. Refuse meant fire bombings. Illegal gambling operations, sports betting, card games, underground casinos in multiple cities, insurance fraud, staged accidents, inflated claims, systematic defrauding, motorcycle and parts theft. They stole bikes, chopped them, sold components through repair shops, moved stolen motorcycles across state lines. Arson. They burned rival clubhouses. They destroyed businesses that refused to pay. Contract killing. Need someone dead? The Outlaws handled it, for the right price. The Department of Justice designated the Outlaws as one of the Big Four outlaw gangs, along with Hells Angels, Bandidos, and Pagans. These four posed a serious national domestic threat. The FBI estimated outlaw clubs collected $1 billion in illegal income annually. The Outlaws controlled a significant portion, but the empire needed enforcement. someone ruthless enough to maintain control through fear. Enter Harry Taco Bowman. The Taco Reign. Harry Joseph Bowman got his nickname from his dark complexion. He looked Hispanic. Club members called him Taco. Born July 17, 1949, in Michigan. Working-class kid. Graduated Port Huron Catholic High School. Former schoolmates remembered him as quite friendly, an all-right kid. Nothing suggested he'd become one of America's most notorious criminals. Bowman joined the Outlaws and became Detroit chapter president in 1970. 21 years old, running a criminal organization. Harold Henderson, the Dayton-based national president, mentored him, taught him drugs, violence, power, control. Bowman became national vice president in the late 1970s. He was being groomed. In 1984, Bowman became international president, 35 years old. For 15 years, Harry Taco Bowman ruled the Outlaws with absolute authority. He transformed them from regional gang into global criminal empire. Bowman kept a low profile publicly. Lived in Grosse Pointe Farms with his wife and daughters. Nice house. Private schools, bulletproof Cadillac. Looked like a businessman. Behind the scenes, he ordered murders, fire bombings, beatings, kidnappings, extortion. He built a machine generating hundreds of millions in drug profits. Detective Philip Reich described Bowman as a very interesting, bright guy. I can't say I admired what he did for a living, but I admired his leadership abilities. Bowman ran legitimate business fronts, motorcycle repair facility, t-shirt shop. Shirts featured pistols pointing at Detroit's Renaissance Center. Visit Detroit, Murder City. But Bowman's leadership relied on extreme violence. He enforced discipline through terror. March 1992. Daytona Bike Week. Former probate Erwin Nissen fought with Atlanta. Chapter President James McClain. Bad move. Bowman summoned Nissen. Others locked his motorcycle so he couldn't escape. Next morning, they brought Nissen to Bowman's motel. Bowman punched him in the face, put a knife to his ear, threatened to kill him. On Bowman's orders, others beat and kicked Nissen. Then Bowman said, "Get rid of him." They pushed Nissen off a 3-story balcony. Broken bones, severe injuries. A message? Never challenge leadership. Bowman ordered multiple murders. The 1991 killing of Raymond Chaffin from the Warlocks. Bombings of rival clubhouses. Systematic violence against Hell's Angels and Pagans. His motto? Snitches are a dying breed. The FBI estimated Bowman controlled 64 U.S. chapters and chapters in 8 other countries during his presidency. But empires built on violence collapse. The fall August 1997. Federal prosecutors unsealed a massive indictment. Bowman faced racketeering, murder conspiracy, drug trafficking, weapons violations. The indictment detailed his 20-year reign. It exposed the criminal enterprise. He ran. March 14, 1998. The FBI added Bowman to the 10 most wanted list. The 453rd person ever. $50,000 reward. His face appeared in post offices nationwide. America's Most Wanted profiled him. For 15 months, Bowman evaded capture. The Detroit and Chicago mobs helped hide him. June 7, 1999. FBI agents surrounded a home in Sterling Heights, Michigan. Bowman was inside with his family. The run ended. April 2001. Tampa, Florida. The trial began. At least 16 U.S. Marshals in the courtroom constantly. Armed motorcades. Daily bomb sweeps. The Outlaws' reputation terrified authorities. Prosecutors presented 22 Outlaws members, 56 counts. Drug crimes, gun violations, arson, robbery, extortion, kidnapping, murder. But Bowman's trial was the centerpiece. 10 racketeering counts. The case hinged on testimony from former Outlaws. Bowman's enforcer Wayne Joe Black Hicks flipped. He'd overseen Florida operations. Now he testified against his leader. Other witnesses came from prison cells. Men who'd made deals, drug dealers, rapists, hit men. They described throwing outlaws from balconies, raping women, bombing clubhouses, massive drug operations. The defense argued Bowman was simply a motorcycle club leader, victim of rogue members. The jury didn't buy it. April 17, 2001. Guilty on 8 counts, 4 RICO violations. Conspiracy to commit murder, drug offenses, weapons charges, July 27, 2001. Sentencing. U.S. District Judge James Moody delivered the verdict. 2 life sentences, plus 3 20-year terms, 2 10-year terms, 1 3-year term, $18,000 restitution. Bowman remained stoic, smiled at his attorney, walked out in orange, no family present, no outlaws. Federal prosecutors convicted 29 outlaws in the 1990s and early 2000s. Tampa became the prosecution epicenter, but the outlaws survived. They rebuilt. They continued operations. March 3, 2019. Federal Medical Center, Butner, North Carolina. Harry Taco Bowman died of cancer, 69 years old, 18 years served. The legendary president was gone, but the empire remained. Today, the Outlaws still operate 441 chapters across 43 countries, over 5,000 members. Second largest outlaw club behind Hell's Angels. The war with Hell's Angels continues, 50 years of bloodshed, no end in sight. The Outlaws remain classified as organized crime by the Department of Justice, Criminal Intelligence Service Canada, and Europol. Drug trafficking, weapons smuggling, prostitution, murder, extortion. Recent arrests prove continued criminality. June 2025, Indiana. 6 outlaws arrested after viral video showed them beating a black man with racial slurs audible. September 2025, Tennessee. Outlaws member arrested with guns and drugs. The FBI, ATF, and DEA maintain constant surveillance. They execute raids. They flip members. They build RICO cases. But the outlaws persist. 90 years after formation at Matilda's bar. Still riding, still criminal, still dangerous. The oldest outlaw motorcycle gang in the world shows no signs of disappearing. God forgives, outlaws don't. They meant it.